The water is still, dark, silent. Beneath the surface of a forgotten Florida wetland, something ancient waits, preserved not by time, but by it. A body, then another, skin intact, bones untouched, faces frozen in a moment that ended 10,000 years ago. No tombs, no markings, no names, just the quiet grip of the bog, holding secrets older than civilization itself. For decades, these mummies defied logic. How could human remains survive in such a hostile, humid environment? And more importantly, who were they? As scientists carefully pulled them from the murky depths, they realized this was no ordinary discovery. These were not just bodies. They were messages, encoded in flesh, waiting for the right technology to be understood. And that moment has finally arrived. With the rise of advanced DNA sequencing, what was once impossible is now within reach. But what the genetic evidence revealed was far more disturbing and far more fascinating than anyone expected. Were these people ancestors of modern populations, or something entirely different? Thousands of years ago, long before modern cities, highways, or even the earliest pyramids, the land we now call Florida was a vastly different world. Around 8,000 to 10,000 BCE, rising sea levels were slowly reshaping the coastline, swallowing ancient settlements, and transforming dry ground into dense wetlands. It was in this shifting, unstable landscape that the bog mummies were discovered, hidden deep within peat-filled ponds, where oxygen is scarce and decay is slowed to a near halt. Archaeologists estimate that some of these bodies date back over 10,000 years, making them among the oldest naturally preserved human remains ever found in North America. This alone would be extraordinary. But what truly puzzled researchers was the condition of the bodies. Unlike typical skeletal remains, these individuals still had preserved tissue, fragments of skin, even traces of internal structures. It was as if time had paused, selectively. The scale of the mystery grew even larger when more remains were uncovered across different sites, suggesting this was not an isolated event, but part of something much bigger. Who were these people? Why were they in these waters? And why did the bog choose to preserve them, while everything else vanished? The first real clue did not come from the bodies themselves, but from where they were found. Deep within submerged sinkholes and peat bogs, archaeologists began noticing patterns. These were not random burials. The positioning of the remains, the depth at which they were discovered, and the repeated presence of wooden stakes and primitive tools nearby suggested intention, careful placement. Almost ritualistic. One of the most striking discoveries came when a nearly complete skull was recovered from the depths, its structure astonishingly intact. Nearby, fragments of woven materials and sharpened wooden implements hinted at a culture far more complex than previously imagined for that time period. But the real turning point came when scientists realized something even more extraordinary. Traces of organic material inside the bones had survived. Against all expectations, viable DNA might still be present. The idea seemed almost impossible. 10,000 years in a humid, acidic environment should have destroyed everything at the molecular level. And yet, the bog had done the unthinkable. Samples were carefully extracted under strict conditions, each fragment treated like a time capsule. What secrets could still be hidden inside those ancient strands? And if the DNA could speak, what story would it tell about these lost people? The investigation began in silence, inside sterile laboratories, far removed from the humid stillness of the Florida bogs. Teams of geneticists, archaeologists, and forensic experts worked side by side, each step calculated, each movement precise. Extracting DNA from remains this old was a race against contamination and degradation. Even a single modern cell could compromise everything. The samples were fragmented, damaged, barely holding together after millennia underground. But with cutting-edge sequencing technology, scientists started to reconstruct what time had tried to erase. Piece by piece, gene by gene. Early results were confusing. The genetic markers did not fully match any known ancient population from the region. There were similarities, but also anomalies. Unexpected variations that challenged long-standing theories about early human migration into North America. Some sequences hinted at lineages thought to have disappeared thousands of years earlier. Others suggested genetic diversity far greater than previously believed for that era. As the data grew, so did the tension. Were these individuals part of a lost branch of early Americans, or evidence of a migration event no one had ever documented? The deeper researchers looked, the more the mystery expanded, and the closer they came to a revelation that could rewrite history itself. The proof did not arrive all at once. It emerged slowly, like a hidden image coming into focus. Advanced genomic sequencing pushed beyond the fragmented strands, reconstructing entire sections of ancient DNA with astonishing precision. What scientists uncovered was nothing short of revolutionary. These bog mummies carried genetic signatures that did not fully align with the dominant ancestral line associated with early Native American populations. Instead, they revealed a deeply ancient lineage, one that diverged far earlier than expected, possibly tracing back to a previously unknown migration wave into the continent. Even more unsettling, certain markers suggested prolonged genetic isolation, as if this group had lived cut off from others for thousands of years, evolving in silence while the world around them changed. Chemical analysis of preserved tissues added another layer to the mystery. Isotopic signatures pointed to a diet rich in aquatic resources, confirming a life deeply connected to wetlands, but also revealed traces of environmental stress, periods of scarcity, and possible exposure to toxic elements within the bog itself. Then came the most shocking detail. Subtle patterns in the DNA hinted at familial relationships between some of the individuals, suggesting they were not random victims of nature, but part of a connected group, a community, possibly even a ritual gathering. And suddenly, the question changed. This was no longer just about who they were, but what happened to them. What happened next must be imagined. But now, for the first time, it can be imagined with evidence. The wetlands were not silent back then. They were alive. Thick humidity clung to the air, insects swarmed in dense clouds, and dark waters reflected a sky untouched by modern light. This was a world both sustaining and unforgiving. The people who lived here knew it intimately. They moved with the rhythm of the water, fishing, gathering, surviving in a delicate balance with the environment. But something changed. The DNA evidence of stress, combined with environmental data, points to a period of instability. Rising water, shifting the earth, resources becoming unpredictable, tension building within and around the group, and then, a moment. Perhaps a ritual. Perhaps a desperate response to crisis. The placement of the bodies, the presence of tools, the clustering of related individuals, it all suggests a deliberate act. One by one, they entered the dark water. Not scattered, not chaotic, controlled, purposeful. Whether it was sacrifice, burial, or something we still cannot fully understand, the result was the same. The bog closed over them, sealing the moment in time, preserving not just their bodies, but the final chapter of a forgotten people, suspended beneath the surface for 10,000 years. What began as a silent discovery beneath dark waters has now become a story that echoes across thousands of years, a story written not in stone, but in DNA. The bog mummies of Florida are no longer just preserved bodies. They are evidence of a lost chapter of human history, one that challenges everything we thought we knew about early populations in North America. Their genetic code reveals diversity, isolation, survival, and perhaps even choices made in the face of environmental collapse. And yet, for every answer uncovered, new questions emerge from the depths. How many other hidden populations have vanished without a trace? How many stories are still buried beneath landscapes we barely understand? Today, with technology advancing faster than ever, the past is no longer silent. It is waiting to be heard, decoded, revealed. But the truth is, we are only beginning to listen. If this discovery has shown us anything, it is that history is far more complex, far more mysterious than we ever imagined. And somewhere out there, beneath layers of earth, water, and time, more secrets are waiting. If you want to keep exploring mysteries like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and dive deeper into the unknown, because the next discovery might change everything again.